G'day people, I'm Sharyn and welcome. Today I'm going to show you how I cut out my waistcoat, how I adjusted darts and put it together so now it's mostly looking like a waistcoat. These are my two pattern pieces that I made last time. You can see that I have drawn a line, a horizontal line that goes through the dart point. That's important. When I was making my pattern, I made sure it was big enough. And that's the important bit. It's much easier to take things out than to try and add something in. So I know it's big enough, although it's not huge. I made 20 centimetre Quilt As You Go squares to make this. There are 10 that I did with straight line designs like that, and there are 6 that I did with curvy designs, and those curvy designs, some of them I did twice. At the end of this video there will be a slideshow so you can see all of the designs that I've used. I have marked the bits that I'm going to cut off on the side seams and the shoulder seam, and in doing that I also need to alter my neckline a little bit. I've put a matching line on the back to the one that goes through the dart point, and I'm going to trim all these bits off now. This is one of my panels for cutting out, and this is the other one. Obviously I've got them in different colours each side. That's because I want this vest to be reversible. I've aligned them so that the joins come together. Each of these is 5 long and 2 wide. I want to put the lines that I've drawn on here, the vertical line and the horizontal one, onto joins. You'll notice there's a bit of a gap down here. There is every probability that I am going to just make this whole garment that much shorter rather than mucking around by adding more squares at the bottom. I easily could, because there are loads of spaces like this around where things are spare, and I could just take 2 and put them on that end and zigzag them on. But I think chances are I'm just going to cut that off and make this whole thing a little bit shorter. Now that I've cut out the backs, I'm going to take them to my sewing machine and zigzag them together the same way that I zigzag together all of these squares. I'm going to start at the bottom, work my way up, and you can see that at the top of my back that has now made a dart, and that's what's going to help this go over my back. I have stitched that back together, and this bit may be too much, but that's easy to fix. All I need to do is undo the zigzag and make it a gentler curve. Make it extend over further distance. It's very easy to change fitting on this. Too much? I'll make it gentler. Where will I make it gentler? Probably from there back to here. And I'll just take some out of it. And this is the beauty of this way of fitting things. I haven't changed how big it is at the top, but I've made it a gentler curve. So now that I've taken that bit out of there, it's just made that a gentler curve for my back. You can see that these actually come in on a bit of an angle. They're not straight, where these ones are straight. I can play with that seam as much as I want to get it right on my back. Here's my fronts. Once again, I've got my 2 layers of squares, and I've put those red lines that I determined where I wanted them, dart point on a seam, and this line here on a seam. I've got plenty of fabric around that I can grab extra pieces and put them on those bottoms to make that extension. I've got quite a long piece of already joined squares here that I can add onto the bottom. I'd rather not put that one there because it's the same as that one, but I can turn this over so that I don't have the same things coming together. At the moment, the dart is still in there. I'm about to cut it out. When I join these together, that is going to produce my dart, and my dart is going to be in that seam. The bust darts are now done, and you can see that it's actually slightly shaped the side seam. I'm going to add the extra pieces onto the bottom and cut the bottom edge. If you want to lengthen something like this and you go to zigzag them together, start near that. It's important to keep that join as one thing, and you can start here, work your way out, start here, work your way out. Got a bit of a problem here because I'm going to end up with the same piece there and there if I just use this one. So all I will do is undo that and put this piece in here. I deliberately made sure that none of my buttonholes went too close to any of the joins of the squares. I don't want to get them involved when I have to put the tape over the top. I think the most time-consuming part of this was finding 10 buttons, 5 for the front and 5 for the back of that same front, because I'm going to make this reversible. So I'm just going to join those two together and then join them onto that edge. And now I can trim off the bottom of this side. The other thing I want to do at the moment is actually make these buttonholes because it will make it easier for me to do the fitting. So I'm going to mark them on, and then I will do those as well as joining the sides and the shoulder seams. I've sewn the vest together, but I haven't got the buttons on it yet. And really, to do fitting, I need to look at that. I do know from trying it on me that there's a bit of gaping here at the top of the back armhole. Here at the back, I can open out this zigzag, take a sliver of fabric from either side and zigzag it back together, and that will bring it back in closer to my arm. At this point, I know the waist is too big. I can take a little bit out at the side seams, these seams, the back seam, and the seams at the front, and just make that very slightly smaller. I will do that probably over an area about that wide. So work out where the waist is and go a bit above it, a bit below it, and take out a sliver. And it really will be a sliver because by the time you add all those bits up, that's a lot. And now we're getting close to a Quilt As You Go waistcoat. My mannequin is me minus quite a few years. So she's a bit smaller than I am. But even so, there is quite a bit of shaping that I still need to put into this. From the point of getting the panels together to this was about 3/4 of an hour. There's still quite a bit to go because I've got to put all the tape on it, but it's actually quite a fast way of making clothing that fits. Please enjoy my little slideshow, and I'll see you next time.